the titanic, terrifying battle between the most terrifying monsters within our community come together for one giant clash. The following announcement has been paid for by Monsters with Attitude.
We are your podcast's favorite podcast, living off of one phrase, 3 words. Embrace the attitude.
Hey, what is going on, you guys? Y'all already know it's your boy, Jordan, the Don Adorno. And if you did not know, we are going to be embracing the Beast Wars. Oh, man. I can't believe we're actually doing it. You two. So before we get started, I would just like to sit here and acknowledge my brethren here at MWA to embrace this cinematic masterpiece of a show with me, starting off with Mr. Joe Mama himself, Mr. Joe Myers. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing very good, man, and I'm ready to do my part and enlist and serve in the Beast Wars. Very excited. Grew up on this show. With this show, it was definitely a staple in my household. Also, to go back even further, I'm glad you told me because I did not know.
Oh, wow. Well, now you're in the know, buddy. So, and right below us, it is the man, the myth, the legend, probably the only individual next to Joe that I know has the most thickest and sexiest beards of all time, and that of the bearded kaiju, Mr. Eric Stolp. Nice to have you on, buddy. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Yeah, this is nostalgia to a T. Like, this is, our parents or grandparents who grew up with Transformers, Gen 1, this is our Transformers. So this is something that we grew up on. So it's nice to talk about something different. I know it's not Godzilla, it's not kaiju, but it's nerddom, it's nerd fandom, it's stuff that we grew up on, it's stuff that we love. Obviously, we've said this for a while now. We are branching out, doing a lot of different things with MWA, doing a lot of different shows, a lot of different topics. This is one of them, just kind of showing some love for a franchise that I think is kind of forgotten. It's always referred to for Gen 1, the originals and all that stuff, which is great. That's awesome. I still watch that stuff too, but for what we got from this series, it was amazing. It was mind blowing for me personally. So when I was growing up, I love this stuff. So it'll be fun to talk about it and talk about it with everybody in the chat too. So.
Dude, absolutely. I always get into heated debates with anyone that grew up with G1 and or prefers G1 that I personally feel like Beast Wars is far more better than what we had in G1. That is my introduction that put my eyes onto the Transformers platform. So again, this is a show I did not expect during my early years at MWA, but I am glad that we are deep diving into this phenomenal show. So before we deep dive into the categories that I got written for us, I would just like to acknowledge our fans here in the chat, starting off with Michael. What is going on, brother?
Oh, absolutely.
And of course, we got
Hey!
Monster Kid Corey.
Monster Kid Corey.
Boy, where
He's
have you
back.
been? I feel like we haven't seen you in a hot minute. What's going on, dude?
I know, dude.
We're missing you.
We got Frank over in Japan.
The legend himself.
We got Team Rog over here.
Team Rogue.
Rog.
And that is it for now, my boys. Oh, I didn't. Where? What? Oh,
Tyler,
sorry. I didn't continue to scroll. Oh my goodness.
we had the pleasure of talking to him last night while we
Yes.
streamed on YouTube for the first time for MWA. So that was a lot of fun doing that. So welcome in, and hopefully you enjoyed the show.
DJC, what is going on, my brother? Hope all is well, my friend. And I believe that is it for now. So, my boys, are you ready? I like Beast Wars.
G1er. I like Beast Wars. It hit when I was
Monster
a teenager.
Kid Corey says, I'm a G1er. I liked Beast Wars. It hit when I was a teenager, and Transformers was dead for years. Yeah, Beast Wars is definitely kind of the show that, in my opinion, reinvigorated the franchise and brought it to a whole new generation. I think there could be an argument made that without Beast Wars, maybe everything since may not be right, because it was such a success.
Yeah,
it was definitely a show that helped revolutionize the franchise for sure, whether it be for that or good and or bad. But nonetheless, it's definitely a show that had put in a whole different recognition onto the Transformers platform.
Yeah.
Word.
All right, boys, are you ready to talk some Beast Wars with our fellow chat?
I'm always down to talk about Beast Wars.
All right, boys, let's get it on, shall we?
Oh, jeez.
That's funny. Perfect timing for that.
All righty then. So here, yet again, we are celebrating the 30th anniversary of Beast Wars Transformers. For those that will be chiming into this and are not in the loop of what Beast Wars was, allow me to give you guys a proper introduction to Beast Wars Transformers. It is an animated television series that debuted on September 16th of 1996 and ended on May 7th, 1999, serving as the flagship of Transformers Beast Wars franchise. It was one of the earliest fully CGI television shows ever to exist. The series is set in the future of the original Transformers franchise, 300 years after the events of the original G1 show, and features the Maximals and Predacons, descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons, respectively. While engaged in battle, small teams from each faction crash land on an unknown planet and must find a way to return home while continuing their war. All right. So the next slide I have for you guys, this pertains specifically to the origins and impact that is Beast Wars. So my question I have for this specific topic for you guys is, what made Beast Wars Transformers so different from previous Transformer shows? I'm gonna start off with you, Eric.
Oh, okay. Obviously, the biggest thing is right there is the way it looked. It was the three-dimensional look that we kind of started transitioning into from, instead of just drawings of the original animation, to this new look. And honestly, to me, this new look like blew my mind. I was like, whoa, dude. I was like, this looks crazy. This looks insane. Now you look back on it, you're like, oh, that is rough. That is a little, whoo, how did I ever think that was like revolutionary? But like, I was a kid. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. So yeah, it's really the kind of the how they brought it out to everybody, all the audiences, how they wanted to showcase what it looked like that was different from Gen 1. And obviously it was a big thing. And honestly, with them changing from like your normal like vehicles, or aircraft or anything like that, they went to animals and, living beings and stuff like that they took the look after, which was really awesome. And I love that too. It was very different. It was more interesting, honestly. It wasn't kind of, here's a car here, here's a car here, here's a car here, here's a truck here, here's a plane here, here's another plane here. It was always the same repetitive thing. This was so different that you could see all these different organic life forms kind of come to life and turn into Transformers that I think was just very appealing, and brought all these new fans of the genre to the show because it was so different. It was so eye popping. And I just absolutely loved it. And it had such an impact on me because, like I stated off screen, like this is my Transformers. Like I grew up with this. Gen 1 was around because my brother watched it. My dad obviously kind of got him into that. So that was around. He collected the toys and whatnot. So, I kind of followed suit, but it wasn't my time. It wasn't what I grew up with. I knew the main character. I knew all that stuff, but this I could call my Transformers because I watched it from day one, watched it always after school right away or on Saturday mornings, whatever it was. And I was just fully immersed in it. And I started collecting and all this stuff. It was just so fun and different to see, and all the different things that they did with it that you didn't see with the originals, that you just got just your normal kind of Transformers and their look and stuff like that. Didn't do anything with it. They tried to push the boundaries with this one and adding different things, adding different looks, and I applaud them for it. And honestly, it worked. It worked for me, honestly, but it was just a lot of fun to enjoy this and always go back to it. And honestly, I recently just went back to it because of the show, that I hadn't gone back to it in God knows how long. And that's why I say, when you look back and you're like, oh man, the graphics are just terrible. Like now I say they got a little bit better as they went, like not a lot, but just a little bit better as we kept going through it. But at the time it was pretty great, and I love all the characters. They're so fun, and kind of you get to root for them, and it's great. So I just absolutely loved it.
Awesome, dude. Joe.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really great answer by Eric. I don't have much to add differently at all, actually. But I'll say that I think the biggest thing, or the biggest impact for this, has to be, yes, the CGI at the time, revolutionary, I guess. No other real show, to my knowledge, really had done this, and so it definitely stood out that way. But also the fact that since the Dinobots and the Sharkatrons, things like that, Quintessa, we really hadn't seen Transformers in such a wide variety have animal, dinosaur, forms. So that really set it so uniquely different. Because while I was aware of G1 and some neighbors and stuff had some original toys, that was 10 years or so before my time, so I just really wasn't super involved in it, but I loved the Dinobots. And so now it was like a whole season, a whole show, a whole series where you had dinosaurs, but you had animals and primates and tigers and stingrays, and then they got into it to where they kind of combined two different animals, and there was a a scorpion and a crab, or whatever Quick Strike was, it like that. Just, it was so cool. It opened up the possibilities, I think, and it just, for a kid, probably 8 years old or something when this came out. When did you say this came out, Jordan? 96?
Yeah, 96, and it ended in 99.
Yeah, I mean, so 96, yeah, I was like 7, 8 years old, something like that. This is just heaven for me, seeing all these different animals and dinosaurs transforming and fighting, and it was peak.
Yeah, now listen, I couldn't agree more to any of the statements that you both have made. I appreciate that. And when I'm looking through the chats, there are a few people that did grow up and actually had a splendid time watching it and have been praising it since. So next question I have for you guys specifically directs it towards the CGI. Was it a smart shift to change the Transformers IP, specifically Beast Wars, to CGI, and alongside with having a smaller cast? Did you think that it worked best for this, or was it a mistake? Joe.
Ooh, I don't know. That's really tough because, you know, Eric had said, you know, looking back, no, it really does not hold up visually. It's very kind of crude and rough for sure. But at the time, that it was very good. You know, at the time, it was that, that's when you saw CGI, this is kind of what you saw, you know. So at the time, it wasn't so shocking in a negative way. It was like, wow, this is what the future is going to be, and it's going to keep looking like this and get better and more exciting and things of that nature. So, you know, do I think it was a mistake? No, because I think overall it was a positive for them to do that with this show. However, I think that if they would have stuck to this for all the seasons, it might not have worked. But I think because of kind of doing it for this season, and then, you know, they went back to hand-drawn animation or whatever it's called for like Armada and Energon and Cybertron and things like that. And I think that was smart. I think that was smart that they went back and were just kind of like, hey, we're gonna wait and let the technology catch up. And as far as, what was your other question? The roster, you know, I'm a firm believer that, like, sometimes more is not better, because a lot can get lost in the shuffle. If you have too much, and I know we're going to get there when it comes to Rise of the Beasts. If you have 40 Transformers and 40 Decepticons all on screen at one time, it's not going to have that, because you're not going to be able to show each one in enough time and enough light to do them justice. So I'm kind of okay with that smaller Autobot, smaller Decepticon team. I actually think one of the shows that came many years after this, it was called Transformers Prime. Very good. It's actually, I think, my favorite Transformers show, if I'm being honest. Really? Yeah, I love Transformers Prime. They did it really. The bad guys felt like bad guys, that Megatron felt like a threat. Even if he got beat sometimes, he would win, you know, and he felt like when he was there, people were afraid of him. But anyways, that's a whole other thing. So I'm okay with a smaller roster, because it allows your characters to shine more. And part of me wonders if maybe that's why Beast Wars had such a strong fan base, because they did start small. It obviously grew pretty fast, you know, or in a wide range there towards the end, later seasons. Like, there was a decent amount on both teams, but that core, you know, 5 or 6 team, I think was probably a smart choice to do. And then when they introduced people, it was one at a time, and they were actually there for a few episodes before somebody new what would come in. So I think, in my opinion, that was smart to do, because it allowed that slow burn, and allowed you to kind of like taste it and swash it around a little bit. I like this guy. Oh, that's cool. I like his attack, or I like his gun, or I like his, you know, animal form or Predacon form or whatever. Like, it gave you time to digest every character. So I'm in favor of starting small. You can grow, but just don't, by the end of it, if, like I said, if there's, you know, 100 versus 100, you're not getting the time and the scope of what it should be, if that makes sense.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be honest, you're probably the only person I know that talked highly about Prime or Transformers Prime. So you have piqued my interest.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. At that point, I stopped watching certain shows revolving around Transformers. The only new thing that I've touched based on was War for Cybertron. It's a trilogy that's up on Netflix, and I only watched it because I think in the second part of that trilogy they introduced the Beast Wars. So although we're not going to be talking about in this show, but again, now that you brought that up, it definitely piqued my interest about it. Sorry, go right ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I'll just kind of piggyback a little bit off of what Joe said, because I completely agree with him. Having the smaller cast was a positive. You could see the character development and growth of these characters. You could kind of more relate to what they were going through if they had something going on. You connected with them a lot more than if you had a cast of 100 and stuff like that. And they're all super unique though. Like, you look at this picture, not one looks the same. They're all different. So you could tell exactly which one was which. A lot of Gen 1 kind of stuff they all looked very similar to each other, so it was kind of hard to tell who it was unless you like study them all the time and actually knew the little nooks and crannies of their design and whatever. So I did like that. They always made them different. And I did like that, when they did bring in a new Predacon or Maximal, like Joe said, they focused on it, but then they got to the point where, like, oh man, like, either the bad guys are always winning, they need somebody to help, and they bring in a good guy to counteract the bad guy, and they kind of keep flip-flopping back and forth, to see who could get, the edge over everybody. Kind of kept more of a focus on the actual story and what's going on, because you're like, oh no, what are they going to do? There's 6 Predacons and there's only 5 Maximals. They're outnumbered, they're outgunned. What are they going to do? The stakes were a little bit higher, so I did like that. But as to if they kept the look, I understand why they did it, because they had to try something different. Obviously, Transformers kind of flustered and just kind of faded away. They had to try something different, and they did, and I applaud them for them going this direction. Maybe it was kind of the upcoming of the CGI, and they wanted to really kind of dab their toes or try and be one of the forerunners into using this technology in cartoons or in a show, and be like, hey, like, we can do a good show, we can make a good product with this kind of technology, so maybe people will follow suit. Who knows what they kind of did, but now, obviously the technology has tenfold gotten a lot better, but still a lot of them don't put that much money into them. And I just feel like it was kind of needed for what that they did. Instead of the drawing and the normal animation, they did have to change it up. And like I said, my original statement, I think it was for the good, because it caught my eye. It was completely different. It blew me away, honestly, for what they had. So I love that they did it. If they would have stayed with this, maybe it would have gotten better. But I think the price point and the money they would have had to throw into these shows to make it look really good would have far exceeded what they would have wanted to do. So it was kind of like a one and done kind of thing. And then they had to go back to the drawing board, either go back to the old ways or figure out another way to do this, maybe more cost effective, or just, overall just as a look to make it more crisp, more clean, to make a better show that people, would like and it appealed to, honestly. So yeah, it's kind of, I think I answered your questions.
Yeah, you most definitely did, dude. Yeah, I'm not gonna add anything to that. Just basically agreeing with what you guys have stated. Now moving on to the next category that segues into the storytelling and lore. Hope you guys enjoy this picture of all of the Predacons here. Absolutely love Megatron's transmetal second form of that dragon. That was peak. Kind of wish it lasted a little bit longer, but nonetheless, I'm not complaining. But so anyways, the question I have for this specific category to start off is, what are your thoughts on the time traveling elements and their execution here in the Beast Wars series? I'll start off with you, Eric.
It was okay. It didn't do a lot for me. It didn't wow me. It was just kind of there. I could have done without it, honestly. But it's just, I don't know if time travel and all that physics, science stuff. If you don't do it right, it just either doesn't make sense, or it's not coherent, or you don't understand it, or it just doesn't flow correctly. And I think they tried to maybe bite off more than they could chew, honestly, and really kind of take it somewhere they maybe should have just stayed more grounded, honestly. So I'm not the biggest fan, but it was there. It was there. I mean, that's all I can really say. It is. I wasn't a huge fan of it. So it's just kind of meh for me.
I agree. I feel like that was one of the only negative topics pertaining to this show. But go right ahead, Joe. The floor is all yours, buddy.
Do you want me to just tackle the time travel or the storyline and lore?
Time traveling aspect. Go do whatever you want, buddy. Go right ahead.
Just time travel now?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a fan of time travel in any story. I think I've kind of talked about that before on the shows, and definitely to you guys in our private calls and stuff. Like, I just think it gets too convoluted. I thought that was the weakest and worst part of like Avengers Endgame. I thought just at anytime you dabble in that, I think it's, Godzilla versus King Ghidorah in 91. It's so convoluted. You can never truly dot every I, cross every T. There's always a plot hole that's left. It's just it's too much. Unless the only way you can really do time travel, in my opinion, in a show is if you completely erase the existence of said show or movie. And then in that point, I feel like you've essentially told your fans that you just wasted your time for however many episodes or however many hours the TV show is or movie is. So yeah, I am not a fan of time travel storyline at all. It just, to me, it does not work. But I also think I don't know if I've always thought this about, I've always not liked time travel, I will say that. But I'm beginning to think that it's an easy way out for writers to right the wrong of their crappy storytelling. Remember, gentlemen, it all leads to the Nintendo. Well, what was that? It all leads to Nintendo Multiverse Smash Bros. Movie. Preach. Yeah, so I'm not a fan of time travel in storytelling. I think it's too convoluted, too messy. And also, it kind of goes, not necessarily saying that Transformers did this as bad as like Endgame or some other properties out there. Once you do the whole time travel to subvert or undo the events that have happened, you're taking away the gravitas of the events that transpired. If you're reversing a death or an attack or an invasion or whatever, it no longer feels like a threat, or a death no longer feels final, because then I'll just go back in time. And then it just keeps getting messier and messier. So that's just me, but in my opinion, I think shows, movies, properties should avoid time travel altogether.
I'm gonna be honest, dude. I did not know that was an opinion he had regarding time traveling with anything.
Mm-hmm.
So really quick, Monster Kid Corey brought up, this actually kind of segues perfectly to this next question. I liked all the callbacks to G1 for obvious reasons. So, with that being said, did you think that the continuity with Beast Wars and G1 was a necessity to basically uplift this show, or could have been okay without any type of continuity? I'm gonna start off with you, Joe.
I think the continuity was a nice kind of like garnish on the plate. I don't know if it was like I don't have a problem with it. To me, it was an interesting, subplot or whatever you call it with the overall Beast Wars story. However, I don't think that it. I like the idea of how certain characters were able to absorb the original sparks and go higher and power and transform, the Transmetal 2 and stuff like that. That was really interesting. But I don't think that it was a necessity to the plot, because I think you could have gotten there other ways. You could have had some other MacGuffin or object or, a fallen Predacon. Megatron took the remains of their sparks or something, and he turned into the dragon. So I think there was other ways around it, and it's fine to me. I don't hate it at all. The callbacks to G1, I think that was probably smart for some of the carryover fans that came from G1 or G2. But did they have to do it? No, I don't think so. I think that they could have easily made this a standalone show or an offshoot. It could have happened in the same universe as G1, but maybe at the same time or during a different time, and removed the actual appearances of the original Transformers and introduce something else. Maybe they introduce the Fallen or something, and or some other Transformers lore for the first time there.
And Corey brings up a good point, but I think nonetheless, I think it definitely would have worked whether if it tied in with G1 or not. Just going based off of just obviously how different it was for any Transformers fan at the time when this initially aired. Go ahead, Joe.
And I agree with Corey. It was interlinked, but what I'm saying is that I don't think it would have been hard to put in something else besides, instead of the Ark, it's I don't know, the whatever ship. Instead of the Nemesis, it's their second warship, or what I mean. They could have easily changed things around. So while it was important to the plot, I'm just saying I don't think that it would have been hard for them to come up with original things for the lore instead of incorporating what was already established in the prior seasons. Like I said, I don't mind it. I don't mind that they did it. I'm just saying I don't think that they had to. I don't think that it was cut and dried. That's why this season worked, was because they had the G1 characters in it. I think that was just, like I said, a garnish, an extra bonus to an already pretty cool show.
Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. But it's like, it's one of those, it's a franchise where regardless, it's going to happen with the notoriety of the franchise, and how long it's been around, and the fan base and everything. You knew it was going to happen. It doesn't matter. You could call it Joe Schmo and the Transformers. Gen 1's going to come in. Like they're going to do that callback. It's kind of inevitable, honestly. I think it's for all of the big franchises, all the bigger IPs, where you're bound to have these callbacks, these little Easter eggs, these little connections to these franchises that have established themselves for so long and have a following and has a fan base. It's just bound to happen. So yes, it's cool to see it because you're like, oh, okay, they're connecting the dots. They are in the same universe. We're not going to go crazy and do something else. They're in the same universe. Is it nice to see that? Yeah, of course, because G1 is G1. It launched everything. It has the most iconic characters in all of probably cartoons, honestly. Like, of course they're going to do that because it brings the old fans back. It shows the new fans, if they're not and haven't seen G1, they kind of get a little bit of a history lesson, or if they don't get a full history lesson, they get intrigued to go back to see and watch the old stuff, which brings more fans into it and wants to watch more of this kind of stuff. So it was just bound to happen, honestly. But it was a nice little Easter egg to kind of throw in there and tie some of the story into it and whatnot. So, I mean, it was cool. It was cool.
I couldn't agree more. Despite, although these are all of our opinions, it's safe to say that we are praising that of Beast Wars. But all good things, unfortunately, must come to an end. Hence the reason behind Beast Machines Transformers. Oh, boy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, this was hard to watch. Yeah, even when grabbing this picture for the slide, I was just giving it a dirty look the entire time to know that, unfortunately, this does exist, and it ties in, unfortunately, with the Beast Wars lore. So, despite that little opinion regarding Beast Machines, I guess I will ask you guys a few questions that I have pertaining to Beast Machines. As mentioned earlier, this was a show that was the continuation of what had left off during the last episode of the original Beast Wars Transformers show. So the question I have for you guys, since this is obviously something night and day to what we were originally exposed to in the original Beast Wars show, this show tended to be a little bit more darker. All right. And I feel like that was one of the trademarks that made the show fail in a sense, just because the execution wasn't all that right. So the question I have is, how did the darker tone of Beast Machines change your perception of the Transformers universe compared to the original Beast Wars? You go right ahead, Eric.
Oh, God. So, coincidentally enough, for the longest time, I didn't even know that this existed, honestly, besides the first 3 seasons of Beast Wars, okay? I think it was, oh my gosh, it had to have been a call with me and Joe or all of us on it or something along the lines where we were talking about Beast Wars long time ago. And somebody had mentioned that there was another like volume to it, and it was called Beast Machines. I was like, wait, what? And coincidentally, it was on Tubi. So I actually went and watched it this last week. It's not very long. It's 13 episodes for season 1, 13 episodes for season 2. So 26 in total, nothing crazy. But boy, oh boy, is this rough. Like this was not what I had been used to and grew up on. It was so different. I don't even know what to put into words on how to describe this show, because yeah, it was darker, but it was like preachy. Like Optimus Primal was like literally like a preacher, and just always like preaching things and not being a leader, and always wanting to talk to the Oracle and this and that. And I was like, dude, you're supposed to be a leader of your buddies or whatever, and you're not even leading. Literally, Cheetor was more of a leader than Optimus was, which is damn ridiculous. Like, weird. I don't know. It put a bad taste in my mouth for Beast Wars, because I was like, this isn't what I'm used to. I don't like the themes. I don't like the way they look. They look atrocious. They're fugly. Like I don't like them at all. Like they are ugly. Like they were not appealing in any way, shape, or form. And then you put in the new ones, and I was like, oh my, they got worse. they got worse. And I don't know, it was so different. And then the whole concept of what Megatron wanted to do and what he was striving for was, I don't know. It was super weird. It was it was not my cup of tea. If you liked it, great, enjoy it, love it, keep rewatching it. I will not do that. I will watch the originals and stick with that and know that that's my Beast Wars, because this was something else. This was not up my alley for sure.
It looks like Corey's the only one here that actually liked Beast Machines.
Hey man, good on you. You love it. You stick with that and don't let anybody else change your mind.
Oh boy. You have a good heart and a patient one at that, Corey. Joe.
Corey is not the only one that likes Beast Machines.
Oh.
I actually think Beast Machines is better than Beast Wars.
Oh, no, dude.
And it looked better. It had a better story. It was way more interesting. It made you think more. Like, you just don't get it. You just don't get it. And that's okay. Not everybody is as sophisticated as Corey.
Wow.
No, I'm
sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Yeah, no, I'm not sure about that. I was kidding. I don't like Beast.
Oh, thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
I was like, I will exit left.
Yeah. No. It's Beast Machines is not that great. Some of the designs are okay. I actually thought Cheetor looks pretty sweet. I hate the fact that, like, I loved the Transmetal to the Red Dragon Megatron.
Yes.
And for, like, we got him for such a short amount of time at the end of Beast Wars, and and we got him for such a short amount of time at the end of Beast Wars. And then this season this series or whatever, I was like, oh cool, like he's gonna be back. And no, not really, because he's sick. He has like he has a boo-boo or something, and like he's just gonna be a big head. And it was weird. I honestly will say this. I think the biggest flaw with Beast Machines is the story. It's that the redesigns don't look as cool or as good as Beast Wars. Let's be honest, we're all kids at this point. We're not like, yes, the plot needs to be good to keep us interested, but if the things don't look cool that we're watching, we're going to get bored with it. And I remember being very bored with Beast Machines because there was not as many cool characters or cool looking characters as Beast Wars. So that's my 2 cents. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.
That's so true. So true.
Oh man. All right. So, because I honestly, I do not want to touch base on this specific show as long as what Corey would probably want me to. So I do have one more question before I segue.
Okay. I was gonna say we need one more here.
Trust me, dude.
I got more to say. Okay, I got more to say. All
right. So maybe you can add more to this specific question. If Beast Machines were rebooted today, what would need to stay the same and what would need to change?
Oh,
go right ahead, Eric.
Dumpster fire that whole thing and start over. Like, there's a complete. Just throw it in there, spray it with a whole bunch of gasoline, and light that sucker on fire. Like, and just forget about it, because
oh boy,
it needs to be erased from memory. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. It's my opinion, but it was not good in any way. I powered through it just to say I watched it. Oh boy, like I said. Just the whole themes on both sides, on what they were doing, what they believed in, what their overall goals were I don't know. It was so weird. It wasn't normal Transformers. Megatron was literally trying to take out his primal side and become full just machine and whatever. And I hated it. I really hated it. It didn't seem like it was normal Megatron, you know. And I don't know. It was. I think the only Transformer that was like remotely sort of kind of maybe could have been interesting that like literally showed up the last, I don't know, 6-7 episodes was Noble. Noble was interesting, you know. Noble was different, you know. His overall look was cool. He was like a lichen / dragon mixture, which was really weird. Like that's what he turned into. Like his normal form was a lichen, and then he transformed into a dragon. Like it was really weird. Could have been really cool with him, but unfortunately they brought him so late into it that they didn't do much with him, and then sacrificed him, and then you're gone, you know, kind of thing. So like, just no good, no good. I didn't like this at all.
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question?
Basically, the question is, if Beast Machines were to be rebooted today, what would need to stay the same, and or what would need to change?
Oh, that was another good one. This was another one that I hated.
Yes, that is.
I hated this too, where the good guys were not good anymore.
Yes.
They somehow had this weird epiphany and completely turned their thinking, and then they were bad. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, he was literally Optimus's right-hand man, his buddy, his bro, through thick and thin, through mud and guts and blood and crap. And then he's like, oh, yeah, everything we believed in was crap. Whatever. We're going to move on. I'm bad.
He turned heel.
Yeah.
Both him and Silverbolt.
Too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Joe. Go right ahead, buddy.
Sorry,
no, I agree that, I don't know. I really honestly don't have a good answer of what they could change, because I think what Eric said first, like, I don't think there's enough to salvage to redo the storyline in that way. To me, like, burn it down. I wasn't a fan of a lot of the directions. It's an interesting concept of the people you thought were your friends, and then how a war can change people's opinions, and maybe some are more radicalized, maybe some are less some want to do this, and so where allegiances can constantly change. I think that is interesting, and especially if the betrayal isn't seen coming, but it was just kind of like there was no like kind of build to it. There was no I feel like too much probably happened off screen, and it's one of those problems where, like, I feel like a lot of the interesting stuff was quickly said in a one-line thing to establish a lot of stuff that maybe could have been interesting, that maybe helped save this show. Because we had a couple seasons of the Beast Machines on an organic planet, so them coming back to Cybertron, like, oh, okay, like that's that's interesting, like, to see how they're gonna fit in there. And I think that should have maybe been more of the storyline. Yeah, I don't know if there's enough to fix it. I think what would have made it more enjoyable for me would have been a complete overhaul, and honestly not of looked very much similar to what we got. So,
well, even the way the series started, like, would literally just threw you in there with no context, no nothing.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, they try to transform. Oh, they can't transform. And then they're on this planet. Like, where the hell are you? Like, you just were dropped here. And then you literally don't find out about the backstory and how they got there for like half of the first season. And then they do like a flashback. And it's like, well, that would have been nice just to start off the series with the continuity from Beast Wars and just go straight into this instead of just throwing you right in there and you have no idea what's going on unless you possibly watch the first 3 seasons and stuff. But that was so weird to me that they just threw you in there with no explanation, no nothing. You're like, where are they? Why do they look like this? Why can't they transform? And it took them several episodes to explain that. I was like, you didn't have to do that. Like, you could have just done it right away and then gone from there. So it was a weird launching point also for the series that really kind of threw me off.
Yeah, you guys brought some good pointers. Now let's stop talking about this damn show because wow. Well, let's dive into something that I personally felt like was pretty neat for modern fans, and that is Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. So this is one of the first ever Beast Wars film be brought to life for us Transformers fans, and yeah, this was a movie that I personally felt like was movie of the year when this originally came out. Me and Michelle went to see this. Oh my gosh. A handful of times, and it doesn't make it any better that I was also tagged along with her family since majority of the scenes took place in Peru, and I'm deciding to marry a freaking Peruvian woman. So yeah, but nonetheless, let's deep
Those
dive.
darn Peruvians.
I'm like, yo, you guys can't come to me to watch Godzilla. We could watch this movie and have no knowledge of Transformers whatsoever. Oh, but it's in Peru. I'm like, you know what? Okay. So let's talk Rise of the Beasts. How well did Transformers: Rise of the Beasts adapt the Beast Wars elements for a modern audience? I'm gonna start this question off with you, Joe.
I thought it was a nice introduction to them. I liked Rise of the Beasts. I did. I thought it was one of the better Transformers films. Yeah. I thought it was one of the better Transformers films of the past couple that we've gotten for sure. Like leaps and bounds better than the last night, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah. Bumblebee was good, but maybe not great, but it was good. It was fun. But so this one felt more like the first 3, in my opinion. So I thought it did pretty good at introducing them, but it kind of goes back to what I said at an earlier question where there was so much we didn't have the time to sit with the characters that we maybe should have. And I think that's what hurt it. And I think they were obviously hoping for more of these to keep going to hopefully touch on some more of these characters. So it was a nice introduction, but a lot left to do as far as appropriately showcasing them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you know what? I would definitely agree to that. That was one of my personal downfalls on this specific movie was that the lack of involving the Maximals as much as what they should have was definitely something that bothered me. But again, seeing the movie so many times, I feel like I've seen them majority of the time throughout the entire experience watching the movie. But go ahead.
It was
Eric.
cool to see Anthony Ramos.
From
King of the Monsters. He was in, he was in the lead role. That was kind of cool. He was a supporting character in Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019. So
yeah, he was oh my god, during that time everyone wanted him in everything. And then to have him tie into what we're still waiting for, that G.I. Joe crossover, which I think that would be pretty cool. Sorry for anyone that didn't see it.
You're the one?
I'm the what?
You're the one that's excited for a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover?
The one.
Are you not?
If they actually do it, I don't think they'll do it well.
Yeah.
You know what? We could revisit that.
He's got thoughts.
I do. And granted, this is coming from a guy who has zero to no knowledge of G.I. Joe. My only little bit of exposure to it was for my dad introduced me to that alongside with G1. But again, that was very, very brief. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. To me, I felt like this was a underwhelming debut for the Maximals. Like super underwhelming.
Wow.
I just felt like they were almost not needed in this movie. And I felt like this would have been the perfect movie to pass the torch.
Okay.
But they didn't do it. Now, I'm not saying Beast Wars are better than G1. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying their characters are better than. Like I said, you're talking about the probably number one, most known, most popular animated fictional character of all time in Optimus Prime. You know, the hero of heroes, dude. Like, it's pretty hard to replace that. I get that. But that's what they did with Beast Wars. They replaced G1 with this new age of Transformers. Now, to my knowledge of what I remember is that when I went into this, I felt like this was going to be a passing of the torch. Not that they're going to kill off all the, the Autobots and all the G1 guys and whatever. Just more of a, hey, like, we've done our part. Now it's your turn to take up the mantle and protect Earth. And they just dropped the ball on it. I think they could have done a better job with bringing in these amazing characters. Their looks, their sounds, everything was like spot on. It was great. It was awesome. Their looks, I mean, everything was awesome. But I felt like it was underwhelming. It really was to me because, like I've stated, it was this, Transformers franchise series, whatever you want to call it, for Beast Wars that kind of got me into Transformers. So seeing them kind of being underutilized, kind of sucked. I wanted them to be more of a presence, to be more of a reason as to why they won. Just to see, it would have been awesome to see Optimus Primal and Optimus Prime work together to take out the villain. Like, but two leaders, like, come on, that would have been epic. But they didn't. They threw Optimus Primal aside and gave the spotlight to Optimus Prime. And like I said, hero of heroes. I get it. He is he is the one. But it would have been nice to see that spotlight kind of shared with Optimus Primal, and they could have used that feeling, that notoriety of this movie to transition into possibly Beast Wars or that type of Transformers for the new age, honestly. But they just didn't do it. So maybe it's because they don't think that it can hold its own without the originals, which could be true, but you don't know unless you try, and I don't know how the numbers did for this movie. I don't know if it was a box office bust or a hit. I don't know. I don't remember that when this first came out. I just remember enjoying the movie, and I thought it was a lot of fun and action packed and whatever, but just some things were lacking for me.
Well, I would ask you guys the other questions, but you guys had answered them all.
Oh shit.
Nah, dude, no worries, man. No worries. Because there are other times.
Damn, I was trying to cut myself off so I didn't answer too much. But damn,
dude, you're fine. You're fine. You know, now that you're deep diving into that, revolving around the lack of acknowledgement or just the lack of screen time that the Maximals had compared to the Autobots. Again, as I mentioned, that was also a very loud and proud complaint that I made as well. I mean, the title says it right there, Rise of the Beasts. That should have been the moment that, as you mentioned, Eric, it should have been the passing of the torch. Especially since I remember when this movie came out, people were freaking, oh my goodness, people were in line for those toys. I don't know if it was the same way. I don't know if it was the same thing for where you guys are at. But it was literally everywhere. And again, from somebody that was originally introduced to Transformers through Beast Wars, I was, again, extremely excited for it. And when I came across it, you know, for the first time viewing, I was just like, wow, that was a lot of fun. But yeah, as I continue to go, it was definitely something that I wish was improved a lot more. Especially, again, since we are talking about the G.I. Joe thing towards the end of the movie. If you're going to segue into that direction and having those two IPs transform, no pun intended, together to create what's going to be the next, you know, cinematic project, you definitely have to throw in a little bit more of the Beast Wars characters, the Maximals into this. Cameo of the Beasts. Listen, I will unfortunately have to agree to that. Like I would have, oh my goodness. And even for the main protagonist or the main antagonist, I kind of wish they did the Megatron route and giving him obviously his flowers, showcasing his Tyrannosaurus form. I would have went,
yeah, dude.
I would have went crazy for that. And I know that would probably been the number one best-selling toy of this entire freaking movie. But also see him go up against that of Optimus Prime, at least in a cinematic form, would have been amazing. Or to even have both, you know, Primal and Prime duke it out with Megatron together, that would have been, oh my goodness, a sight to see.
Well, and too, like I think Corey mentioned it. Like, as you can see in this picture, well, besides Bumblebee, we got Gen 1 Optimus, which looks amazing. Looks amazing. So I was expecting to see like Gen 1 either Megatron or Beast Wars Megatron, you know. So I was like, okay, this is cool. This is awesome. We're gonna get this really cool fight or whatever. And we didn't get that. That was another like kind of lackluster moment that I get it. They don't always have to be Megatron, but let's be honest. Megatron is like the bad of the bad, dude. Like he is Optimus's yin to his yang. Like they're always in a constant battle between good and evil. Like that is the thing. Like I get it. Like they tried to differentiate it. They tried it in other movies too, where it wasn't just always Megatron, but I don't think it always hits the same because Megatron is like pure evil, like the evil one that you're always trying to beat and good over evil, you know. And I get it. Like they were trying to bring Unicron in. Awesome. Great. They should do more of that and bring him into this universe and actually have a presence because he is around, because he is the end all be all freaking Transformer, dude. Like, you know, he is the Galactus of the Transformer universe, dude. Like he is the world eater himself. And honestly too, like if they do anything more with this, they need to bring Unicron in, bring Megatron in, and then we need to get a Galvatron. Like let's update this. Let's get this shit to peak and stop teasing everybody. And let's like shoot for the moon, man, because that's what I want. Like if you're gonna give me this kind of stuff, you better be hitting on other cylinders because that's what I'm excited for. That's what I want. And you better not tease me with another one where it's like, oh, Transformers 13, Optimus needs an oil change. You know, like I don't want that. Like I want that keep building kind of thing, and I hope they keep doing that. I think this was a good start to almost like a revamp of maybe the franchise, and go this route, or if this was maybe just a one-off. I don't know. We'll see. I don't even know when this movie came out. It's been at least 5 years or something like that for this movie. Like it's been quite a while, but I don't know. It could be a good launching point if you bring these characters back and you keep using them and also build onto it, because there's some stuff that has been untapped and unused and unmentioned yet that could really kind of bring more excitement back to the franchise, honestly.
You didn't like Galvatron in, was it Extinction?
Yeah, Extinction. Yep.
No.
Me either.
No. That was stupid.
Fast and Furious X Transformers. Freedom is the right of
Exactly. Family man.
Oh man. And I will leave off of this category off of another downfall that this movie did, was killing off Air Razor. I mean, although she did, technically died off in the original Beast Wars show, but yeah, I feel like especially if they're going to continue to have these characters, at reach to be able to display them in future movies, they should have kept her a little bit longer, in my opinion. But I'm not the writer, I guess. So
we would do a better job.
Yeah, most definitely.
Well, that's true. But it was also nice, not to keep prolonging this, but it's also nice to see like Bumblebee be the victim. Like it wasn't Optimus like always. Like he's turning into the Kenny, of Transformers. Like he's always almost dying or whatever. Like I hate that. Like they finally changed it, transitioned it to somebody else that was meaningful to fans and obviously as a character for the story. So that was nice to see that like triumphant return for Bumblebee. I know he's a fan favorite. People love him. Obviously he has his own solo movie, so there is a fan base for him. But it was nice to like do that kind of story to make him the victim and then him the triumphant hero to return and save the day, except for, always being Optimus. But again, like I said, they could have utilized the Maximals a lot more and they could have been the heroes for this particular movie, but I digress.
At the end of the day, Rise of the Beast fell into the same problems as all the other Transformers movies by killing their villain. But I will say this, they established their villain throughout the movie as a threat. And he was tough.
Yeah.
Was a tough threat.
Yeah.
Which was refreshing because too often in Transformers movies, which they did in this one, they kill off the villain again. And they don't always have to do that. And that is my number one problem with these films.
Yeah, Scourge was definitely a menace to society in that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a beast.
Now, we were just talking about toys, so of course. Oh my goodness.
Frank. Godzilla, X Kong, X Transformers, X G.I. Joe, X Fast and Furious, X Marvel, X Mario. Part 1. Bam.
Oh boy.
Oh, God.
You forgot about Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Oh man. I know we were just talking about the toys, and I think it's safe to say that when we saw these in shelves, we went crazy. Oh man.
Oh, look at that. They're so beautiful. God, I miss those toys. Golly.
Dude, for real.
Golly.
Oh man, let's just take a minute just to admire all these classic figures that came out during the original release of Beast Wars. Because my God.
Who had any of these?
So I only owned Megatron, unfortunately, and I do not know where he is at right now. And I also own Cheetor.
Okay.
yeah, so it was. I think I owned a pterosaur as well. I'm It's more than likely probably that I did own pterosaur. I was only aiming for like the
Okay.
dinosaurs. Although obviously Cheetor is not a dinosaur, but I always felt like Cheetor was my preferred maximal amongst the rest of his peers. So
Yeah.
but yeah, they're gone missing somewhere.
What about you, Joe? What did you have?
I had Pterosaur. I think I had Cheetor. I had Megatron. I know I had Transmetal 2 and Transmetal Megatron and Transmetal 2 Megatron.
Oh,
I don't remember if I had the original Megatron. And I think I had all three Optimuses as well. I had like Quick Strike, Depth Charge, maybe. Yeah, like I had a decent handful of them. Probably like around 10-ish, maybe in total.
Okay.
wow.
Yeah, definitely not the complete set or anything close to it.
Yeah.
Of what was released, but at one, it between around 10, 7 to 10, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I had just in this picture, I had Primal, I had Megatron, and I had I can't remember his name, the Scorpion. I could
Scorponok?
Scorponok. Okay, yeah, I had those three. The other one I wanted was Dinobot, but I never got Dinobot in this.
Oh,
he was
man.
always one that I wanted, but I never got.
I had
him,
Dinobot
so
2.
Oh, dude.
Okay.
Which it's still a neat design. I never had the chance to come across any Dinobot figures. I mean, we'll talk more into that later. So obviously this topic pertains to obviously the toys and the collecting aspect of Beast Wars. So the questions I have for you guys is, how did the Beast Wars toy line innovate compared to earlier Transformers toys? I'm gonna start this off with you, Joe.
Hell if I know. How did it innovate? I don't know. I was too young to have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just know that the Beast Wars were cool and they were my jam, and I wanted them all.
Enough said. How about you, Eric?
Yeah,
Eric is
yeah.
definitely older than me, so he probably remembers.
Oh shit, you're right up there too, buddy. But I don't know how they innovated, but like they were super appealing. Their box art, their packaging was bright colors, popping, for you to see, and I mean it worked. Like I said, it was overall the whole concept of this series was appealing to me because I just thought it was so cool that they're using all these different animals and living beings to be Transformers, and I just loved it. I think I dove more into the Transmetal ones than these. Like I said, I only got the 3 in this original line, but Transmetal, oh man, I probably had 40 of these things in total. I would be buying them up left and right, man. I was all into this stuff. So I wasn't like a collector. I was playing with this stuff, like having my big old battles and wars, in my bedroom or in the living room. And it was like, don't enter the living room because the whole living room is a battlefield. Don't touch anything, you got to take breaks and you come back and you got to continue your battle until someone wins. So, but yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think we already deep dived into this, but I mean, I could also be, wrong. What are your favorite figures or designs from this specific era? I'm gonna start this off
from Red Dragon Megatron.
Okay.
I was gonna say which era, like the original, second season, third season, like what are we?
Or just everything all in total.
Oh yeah.
Red Dragon Megatron.
Yeah.
Red Dragon Megatron.
I will say this: I was also a huge fan of Quick Strike. I thought he was cool.
Okay.
Scorpion, Cobra.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought he
Oh
was,
yeah,
he was
dude.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was cool, and I did like. I liked the look of Dinobot too. I thought he was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
Dinobot's
There was
like
a few. There was a few bangers for sure. And I just want to say, as far as Eric having 40 of them, Eric, like I said, is significantly older. He already had a full-time job by the time he came.
Oh yeah, full-time job. Yeah.
In 1996, Eric
man.
was 28 years old then. He was working at KB Toys just for the discount.
I was working my paper out, man. That's what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was a milk boy. You guys don't even know what that is because he's so old.
Oh, poor Eric. Oh man. Well, that is all I have pertaining to the toys.
I want to see more. Dang it.
Oh well, you know what? Maybe not so much you, but I do believe that there will be a specific individual in the chat that could win these 3 amazing giveaway items, since we were just praising that of Megatron's Transmetal 2 form. You will also be winning that specific figure. Now, although it is a part of a newer line, nonetheless, it is still an amazing figure at that, alongside with the, what is it called? What is the specific line called? War of the Primes or something like that, of Big Convoy. For anyone that was not in the loop of this, and I only see one individual being Corey, but Beast Wars ended up having its own anime adaptation that originally aired in 1998. Now, although we're not going to deep dive into that, but if you guys are willing to just sit down and deep dive into that unknown lore of the anime adaptation of Beast Wars, by all means, let us know. And to the far left, I apologize, is an original print made by yours truly that I made of Godzilla fighting both Leo Convoy and Big Convoy. I try to make it into a very nostalgic anime VHS cover-esque type of thing. And hopefully whenever there is an individual that's going to win this, they're going to see just the overall nostalgia feel that they'll get from that print. So what we're going to be doing for this specific giveaway is I would ask for you guys to throw in the chat hashtag Beast Wars, all in lower capital letters. So make sure you guys do that. All right. Hashtag Beast Wars in all.
Hashtag Eric is significantly older than Joe.
All righty. So we're going to let this sink in and wrap things up with 2 more categories I would like to deep dive with you guys, if I may. Yep, just like that. Perfect. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you.
Mm-hmm.
Next topic of conversation is obviously the voice actors and their characters. Now, obviously, I think it's safe to say, whoa, someone that is married. Yo, this is going to be a rigged giveaway, I tell you that. Really quick, we had mentioned earlier that this was significantly our introduction to Transformers, and if not only that, but this was, I think it's safe to say this is our Optimus Prime as well. If you guys are not aware, this is Gary Chalk, the guy who came and basically took the world in grasp of his hand to voice Optimus Prime for the very first time since the original G1 show in 1996, when Beast Wars originally aired, and would continue on playing that of Optimus Prime for quite some time. And I'm going to announce it right here live. We'll be sitting down with Gary Chalk later next month. So
what?
We are going
What?
Yep. So
hell yeah,
this is going to be awesome.
Hell yeah.
This guy has also done a plethora of other characters, so it's definitely going to be nice to sit down and chop it up with him just to deep dive into his career and maybe what he will have in the near future. So stay tuned for when that interview pops up, you guys. But the question I have, again, pertaining to this category is how iconic are performances like Gary Chalk as Optimus Primal and David Kaye as Megatron? Was that something that you guys were intrigued with, or do you guys just prefer the G1 original voice actors? I'm gonna start this off with you, Eric.
That's not fair. That's not fair at all. Jesus.
I will be biased because as mentioned, he is my Optimus. So I'm always going for that, but nonetheless, when I do hear that Autobots roll out, dude, chills would be sent throughout my entire body, knowing it is the OG voice actor. So I will commend him with that. But
as much as he did justice to this character, also too, like I don't think we touched on, like it was nice to see that the voice characters or actors that did the first 3 seasons went over to Beast Machines and continued the voice acting, which was great. That doesn't happen a lot, actually, and that was a nice surprise when I started actually Beast Machines. That surprisingly, they're all still the same voice actors, which I was like, oh, that's awesome. That's great. I don't like hearing these new voices for the same character that I've already been watching for years and years. So it's kind of a getting used to. But unfortunately, as I grew up with this guy, you know, I grew up with this show, but there is only one Peter Cullen. There is only one Optimus Prime, and he's the Prime. Like I said, that's why I said it's unfair, because the voice actors who did Optimus Primal and Megatron did a tremendous job, and so good. They did, like I said, they did justice to those characters and taken on that mantle of those, you know, likenesses or characters on their own and putting their own spin on it, but also making it legendary on its own. So, you know, it's hard to beat the OGs just because they are the OGs. Like they made them so iconic, so legendary that it's hard to beat them. So I have to go with G1 voice actors, but these are just a hair under that, with, you know, no fault against them for any way, shape, or form. They did these justice. I gotta go with the OGs though. I just have to.
that's okay. That's okay. Joe.
Pretty much just going to echo what Eric said. These guys did phenomenal work and brought their own unique flavor to a recipe that otherwise would have been very hard to duplicate. However, Peter Cullen and Frank Welker as Optimus and Megatron, those guys, I've said this before the past few episodes when it pertains to wrestling, that iconic is thrown around way too much in today's terminology and vocabulary. But Peter Cullen, Frank Welker are icons in this business for a reason. And they truly are. Their voices defined an era. And however, with that being said, the voice actors for Optimus Primal and Megatron in Beast Wars did a fantastic job for the characters that they were given. And Monster Kid Corey brought up Transformers 1, the animated movie that just came out a few years ago. And those voices were painful. I'm sorry, but like I don't think Scarlett Johansson, Hemsworth, and whoever the guy is that played Megatron, like none of them sound like Steve Buscemi as Starscream. Like, what are we doing, guys? Like it's not. It didn't work. You know, it sounded too. I don't know what the word is. Too hip, too current. It didn't. And so these guys, they did, like I said, they added their own flavor to an already perfect recipe and did a very good job.
All right. Well put together, two of you. The other question I have, this is going to be deep diving into specifically the characters that made us love this show. Which characters had the strongest development arc?
Easy.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
It's going to always be a clean slate between us three. Joe.
Yeah.
Dinobot.
Yo, he was the GOAT.
Easy.
He was the GOAT.
Now,
From
I
a
will
selfish-
say... Oh, no, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, please, Eric, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say a close second would have been Black Arachnia.
Oh.
Okay.
You know, because she did a 182. Like she changed too and went through some stuff and literally fell in love with a Maximal. So like that was a big thing too. You know, because she was like, dude, she was evil. Like she was sadistic. She was trickery. I mean, all this stuff. And then all of a sudden she just like changed. So like it kind of like it went from Dinobot to Black Arachnia. Like those are the two that I say are, you know, neck and neck. But yeah, definitely Dinobot, I'll say.
Yeah, she was definitely a heavy hitter for the Predacons for sure. Go ahead, Joe.
That's a great point, Eric, about Black Arachnia. But yeah, no, my answer is Dinobot. You know, he started off obviously mean and threatening and a bad guy, and only teamed up with the Maximals because he was more ticked off at the Predacons at the time. And whenever he could, he would challenge Optimus and, you know, want that role as leader and question his authority and question his leadership and, you know, challenge him to duels and all of that stuff. And over time became one of, if not the most reliable forces in the Maximal team, and ultimately sacrificing himself for the greater mission, right? The greater good. And that to me was a beautiful story, a beautiful arc, you know. And then even to see him resurrected and, you know, there was still part of him in there, and the pain. Yeah, I mean, Dinobot for sure. Definitely a tragic character, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Oh my god, that last episode had me like teary-eyed with the smile on my face of just pure joy. But another question I have just to close this chapter off: are there underrated characters who deserve more recognition? I'm leaving that one off with you, Joe.
I'm sorry, repeat that question. Is there characters that deserve what?
Just basically more recognition.
You know, I don't know if one comes to mind that didn't get its just due, but one that was kind of a, you know, a co-star or a lackey that, you know, I was a fan of that I wish got more screen time was I mentioned him earlier, like Quick Strike, but also I wouldn't have minded Scorponok coming back and getting a Transmetal 2 or possibly even a Transmetal 3 version. You know, I like Scorponok. I think he's pretty cool. So yeah, I don't know if there's anybody that was underappreciated that comes to mind per se, but there was definitely some characters that I wouldn't mind, you know, having stuck around a little bit longer, or maybe just a little bit more screen time, or a little bit more to do. But yeah, no, nothing, at least off the top of my head, that I can say I wish that I thought was done dirty that should have been done better or something like that.
Okay. Eric.
Waspinator.
Whoa, really?
I'm just kidding. I don't care. No, no. honestly, nothing comes to mind that was kind of like a standout that should have gotten more. Because I mentioned Black Arachnia, but she did. She became a Maximal. She became, part of the team, in Beast Wars, and then continued on to Beast Machines. I didn't like Cheetor. I didn't like Rhinox. I didn't like who was the stupid rat trap.
Rat Trap.
Yeah, he was stupid. I hated him
Wait,
too.
you saying that you didn't like Rat Trap or Rhinox?
No, I didn't.
Eric, who hurt you?
Rat Trap was so annoying. I hated his.
He was pretty annoying, actually.
I was like, cut his voice box because I don't want to hear him whining anymore.
Despite him having that annoying personality, this guy carried the team majority throughout the entire freaking show, alongside Rhinox, who Optimus quoted to be that of a more than highly qualified leader.
That's true, but it never happened because he wasn't leader material.
Well, obviously he didn't, because then he turned heel in Beast Machine's blood. Nonetheless, wow, dude! Wow.
I think there's more. I think there's more people I hate than I actually feel like they should have been boosted to get more airtime. Honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all fine. The way they were. They served their purpose, and the ones that got the pushes for obviously reasons, because they had a story, because they were focused on, and the ones that didn't, they were fodder. So I think everybody was kind of right where they needed to be, honestly.
Okay. The only thing that I feel like, the only character that I personally felt like needed a little bit more recognition, and again, this goes to what attracted me to specific figures from this show, was Pterosaur. I did not want them killing off Pterosaur, and I felt like between him and Scorponok, them killing him off in such a nonchalant way, I'm like, wait, what? Are they coming back? And then come to find out, that's it. I'm like, dude, what the hell? And again, I love Pterosaur. He played a very interesting character during his time early on in the show. So, and again, just the whole dinosaur element between just only him and Megatron. No one else had that trait. They were all just insects. Was like, for me, it was just a little bit disappointing that they killed off the only dinosaur existing Predacon in that entire faction. But yeah. So to, I guess, properly close things off in this show, I want to deep dive into the fandom and legacy of Beast Wars. So the question I have, and it's safe to say, since we have given multiple of positive feedback on this show, the question I have is, why has Beast Wars remained such a beloved part of the Transformers history? I think it's safe to say that we all have answered that alone throughout the entire show. So I'm not going to have you guys answer that question, but it's safe to say, again, for anyone that has not chimed into this show, I know Alex brought up him not watching this. Obviously, as adults watching it, or even for a first-time viewer, it gets a little quirky, just talking about specifically the CGI, but you easily look past it as the show progresses because, wow, it had a phenomenal storytelling. The characters were absolutely amazing. It was just a beautifully well done Transformers show, especially since at the time they've been in hiatus for quite a while. So this being the second gen Transformers, they were off to a phenomenal start, in my opinion. I don't know if there's anything that you guys wanted to add regarding that, or
yeah.
If you guys... Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. Actually, so to me, in my opinion, I actually think this series is looked down on. and I think it's kind of like the stepchild of the Transformer universe, honestly. A lot of people judge it for the way it looks. That's like one of the biggest things I always hear is that the animations or the look of it is just crappy. I get it. Like it didn't age well. Like we understand that and we accept that. But yeah, I don't think people hold as much esteem for this series as I think we would like people to. I think they sweep it under the rug, they look past it, and they always look for Gen Z. It's always those characters, it's always those type of toys that they're looking for. That's what they're looking for. They don't look for Beast Wars, honestly. And honestly, in my opinion, it's kind of it sucks because as much love as we expressed for this show and the nostalgia and what they did good, as for us talking about this, I just think it is looked past, and people don't regard it as that good of a Transformers show, and they don't even like to include it into the overall universe of Transformers. They'll just go back to all the Gen 1 or after series and stuff like that, and they just kind of go from there. So respectfully so, I have to disagree with your thoughts on people liking it, because I don't think they do. I think they look down on it, and it sucks. It's better than what people think, and I think they should not judge a book by its cover just because it looks a little bit different than what it was. Because I mean, you got to realize the time this was made and the technology available, and them trying to do something different, and people can't get past that a lot of times, and they're quick to judge before even giving it a shot. So just kind of my thoughts on it.
Okay. Joe.
I don't really know. In my experience, I think the people in my circles speak highly of this, but I totally understand Eric's point of what he's saying, that maybe the general Transformers fan or the average just superficial, like on the outside fan of this stuff maybe doesn't think very highly of it. But I definitely think it deserves the tip of the hat for reinvigorating the franchise in a way, like I stated at the beginning of this show, that maybe we might not have gotten Transformers as we know it now, which I mean, for good or bad, it helped to reinvigorate the franchise and bring it to the point that it is here today. I definitely think this show deserves a current reinvention, if you will. I would love to see the story brought back, but maybe with modern effects and technology and art and things like that, to maybe bring it to a new audience. Because and don't just carbon copy the storyline and characters, but maybe have your central few that are the same, but introduce some new animals, some new Dinobots, things like that to it. That would be cool. But yeah, I have nothing but love for it, because it is truly the Transformers show that made me a Transformers fan. I was a fan of the toys that I would see friends or babysitters have, but I had never seen a show. I didn't understand, like I've stated, significantly younger than Eric, so I didn't see all that stuff. But so yeah, I think this deserves its just due, because it really did bring a lot of people like myself, like you guys, into the fandom. So, and I hope that its legacy is remembered kindly for that, because it did jumpstart a kind of cold property.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, you could take the comparison of this with Power Rangers. They always do Mighty Morphin. They always do Gen 1. Anything after that is kind of forgotten about.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. I mean, it's the same thing with like even Godzilla. Like we always get the same characters. They never, well, to an extent of what majority of the products that we've had in recent years, we're obviously going to get the big five: Godzilla, Rodan, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and Mechagodzilla. They don't normally segue into other kaiju that we tend to be a little bit more fans of outside of the big five. And they have been doing better expanding that, especially in the state that Godzilla's in right now worldwide. But I definitely do agree. Nonetheless, despite our positive feedback for anyone that does chime into this, this is a show that we would highly recommend anyone to deep dive into. If you're a 90s baby, this is definitely a show that you could kind of resonate with a little bit. Again, rewatching this a handful of times, it just brings me nothing but pure joy and nostalgia. So again, if you guys haven't watched Beast Wars Transformers, this is a show that would definitely leave you at the edge of your seat, in my opinion. So thank you guys for chiming in. I really do appreciate you guys, Eric and Joe, and anyone here in the chat. Although this is something we, again, don't normally segue into here at MWA, but it is something that we had stated earlier on at the start of 2026 that we're going to be touching on topics that we don't normally do. And I like to think this was a very successful show, very engaging. And yeah, so, but of course, before we close things off, go right ahead, Joe.
I just want to say, it's fun to talk about other things. We still love Godzilla. We still love Toku, and that's always going to be our main focus. But it's fun to occasionally, hey, listen, I love Dr. Pepper, but every once in a while I want a Coke, or every once in a while I want a Sprite, or every once in a while I want a little something else. So, and I just want to say that, Jordan, thank you for hosting the show, but also Eric and I are the real ones for actually doing the homework and showing up tonight too.
Yeah. Preach. Don't worry, DJC. I was just about to say before we wrap things up, of course, we have to acknowledge the giveaway. Really quick, I do want to shout out my boy Marquise, who is currently in the chat right here. This is a man that between me and him, amongst all his other brothers, we always talk about stuff like this. And just recently, a few years ago, I would sit over at their house and revisit Beast Wars. And I think it was Marquise's first time touching base on the actual show. And he was just sitting through it like this the entire time. Just completely shocked. And I also do know that he tends to collect stuff like that of Gundam, Transformers, and all of that. So, my brother, please just throw in that hashtag Beast Wars with all with all lowercase letters to possibly be able to win these two amazing, beautifully well done figures of Megatron and Big Convoy, and of course an art piece done by your boy. If you guys want to know exactly what Big Convoy is, he is a mammoth. So this is my personal collectible of Big Convoy, and when this was announced, I had to gun for this immediately. I'm still currently on the lookout for the Leo Convoy. That was a little bit harder to come by, but once I came across this, and this is the last one that they had at Target, I knew I had to snag him. All right, and I also do own the Transmetal 2 Megatron, this specific figure at that. So I would highly suggest you guys chiming into that. Marquise, it's lowercase letters, not capitalized, lowercase. And once you get that
I just want to do a little humble brag. I have the original Transmetal Red Dragon Megatron.
I used to.
And I have the reissue. I just want to throw it in your face. And also, my wife's nickname for me is Big Convoy. So
This dude.
Here I come. Breaker 19, Rubber Ducky, Big Convoy's on the way.
Oh man. Of course, we got to throw in some type of humor like that here in MWA. But that's what makes it different and unique, because we are very embracive, if I may. Eric, I love you so much, right? One thing I love
the wheel feature. The wheel feature. The wheel feature. He needs the wheel feature, the giveaway feature.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're so handy.
Gotcha.
You are. Some would say that, I've heard it plethora of times, especially when I go to work. Was Eric the creator of the spin the wheel for the giveaways? I'm like, you know what? I was there when he actually made it. So, yeah.
When he actually made it. Oh, that's funny.
Frank goes, just like coffees, I like it dark. My man. All right. So
hashtag Beast Wars.
That's right. I don't care what anyone says. Eric is.
We got 7 entries right now. 7 entries.
Yep.
Hey, thank you, Corey. Thank you, Corey.
Again, thank you guys for all tuning in, and I do hope whoever wins has an absolute blast with these figures. I try to stick to the realm of what I thought would, intrigue our Godzilla community. Hence the reason why I also am giving away my original print. So let's deep dive right into the possible winner for this giveaway.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Bearded Kaiju and married to Kaiju.
No way. No way.
No way!
Oh, that's so funny.
Yes!
No way.
Load of BS.
Everybody, he cannot win. He cannot win. We're kidding.
I cannot win. That's fine. We will.
It was like scam.
Don't worry. I just wanted to win. That's all.
No way!
All right, guys, that's a wrap. Thank you so much, Jordan. You know my address. You could just send it,
dude. No way.
Oh, what are the odds?
That's so funny. I knew that was gonna happen. In my mind, I knew that was gonna happen. That's so funny. No, we're kidding. Eric and I cannot win.
No.
No way.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't need to spend money on shipping because I could just bring it.
Mark, that was funny.
Wow.
Congrats, bro. Oh, man.
Congratulations, guys.
And thank you for hopping in last minute, dude. Again, this is another diehard Transformers fan, so I know that this is indeed going to a great home. So congrats once again, bro.
Congrats.
Oh, that was funny. Awesome. That was amazing content right there.
1 in a million. 1 in a million that would happen.
But of course, just once again, I want to praise both Joe and Eric for hopping on board with me, the Beast Wars hype train. I think it's safe to say we won the war. Did we win the war? Did we win the Beast Wars? I think we did. All right. War. But also, for any newcomer, for anyone that has yet to do so, shame on you, especially if you've been here since day one. But go ahead and hit the description down below to follow all of our socials. We also have a TeePublic. If you guys want to rock MWA merch, by all means, go right ahead and click that TeePublic. Also, when you click on the link tree, we're also doing a GoFundMe page for our beloved friend and that of Marcellus Winters. So go ahead, spread the love, and just embrace nothing but love to Marcellus and his family in a current dear time of need. Also, as Captain Gordon stated, and we've heard it in person, he said this to us: don't be a hoe, share the show. All right. I am your host tonight for the Beast Wars Show, Jordan. He is Joe. This is Eric. And here at MWA, we live off of one phrase, 3 words: embrace the attitude.
Embrace.